My name is Jon Scagel, and I am Superintendent of Schools for the Pioneer Valley Regional School District. During this difficult time of the COVID-19 pandemic, many of us are facing a significant increase in screen time to accomplish our essential daily tasks. School districts throughout the United States have either extended school closures or closed schools for the remainder of the year. Teachers are relying on technology more than ever to deliver education and stay connected, which means that students and teachers are facing a significant increase in screen time. I am pleased to be joined by Dr. Theresa Ruggiero of Northampton Vision Specialist. With over 20 years in private practice, Dr. Ruggiero is at the forefront of her field and a recognized authority on developmental and behavioral optometry and vision therapy. Thank you for joining me here today, Dr. Ruggiero, and speaking about screen use. So given our new reality with teachers and students using screens more than ever for remote learning, what recommendations can you share about screen use and minimizing eye strain?
Oh, John, well, first let me tell you I'm very happy to be here, and I'm flattered to be invited, and I'm thrilled to be invited because I think that it's essential that children especially are aware of how to protect their vision during this time where screen use has skyrocketed. Children's vision and systems in general are the most pliable, and so they are truly the most vulnerable to maladaptation, to struggle and suffer from this excessive use of screens. So the first recommendation that I would make would be what we call the 20-20-20 rule. And what that means is that if you're looking at a screen for a sustained period of time, every 20 minutes you should look away from the screen for 20 seconds at a distance at least 20 feet away. Now, this is a rule that I've been telling patients for years, and it's not unusual, especially for a younger person, to say, yeah, I know, tell me to take a rest break. And so I think it's important to understand what's going on in that little look away. The way that our visual systems operate, our eyes are just the entry point for our visual processing, which is really a brain process. And our brain is constantly sampling the environment so that it can tell the eyes what to do. So it's constantly asking the question, where should I look, where should I look, where should I focus, where should I focus? And the longer you're looking at a stimulus, the less powerful it becomes. Your system habituates to it. And so if you stay on a project that's on a screen and you try to power through, it gets harder and harder to maintain your visual focus and your mental focus. Now, when you look away, your visual system in your brain and your body literally has a chance to breathe. Then you look back at that same target and it's like a new stimulus again. So it's so much easier to maintain visual focus and mental focus. So the 20-20-20 rule is the number one most important thing everyone should be doing. Every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break, looking 20 feet away. But that's really just the beginning. Other things that are very important to consider is which screen are you using? The smaller the screen, the closer it is to you, the more detrimental it is to your visual system. So ideally, everyone would be doing their distance learning on a desktop computer, which I know is very unusual. Most families don't have desktops any longer. So then we would go to a laptop, then we would go to a tablet, and lastly, we would use a smartphone. Because the screen is so small and it's held so close to your eyes, it's placing the most stress. So think in terms of the bigger the screen, the further away, the less stressful it is for your visual system. Okay, another very important tip is that when you're doing a sustained visual task on a screen, you mustn't stay there for hours and hours. At least once an hour, you should get up and move your body. You should think of moving your large muscles as the antidote to the strain and stress of looking at a screen. So at least once an hour, get up, walk around, go out, look out the window, go walk up and down the stairs, get a drink of water. Don't go check your iPhone, and then go back. No matter what a project is that a person is involved in, they should not spend more than 3 consecutive hours on a screen. After 3 hours, they have to get up and literally move their bodies for at least a half hour. Go outdoors, preferably. Research has shown that moving your body in the out of doors is the major way to relieve the strain and stress of being on screens. And so even though children are home doing their distance learning, and even though we are all in a situation where we have to stay close to home, it's essential that everyone, especially children, are getting outdoors every single day for at least half an hour a day. When they can't get outdoors because it's a torrential raining day like it is today, then they should be moving their bodies indoors. And these recommendations go for children and adults. Indoors, go up and down the stairs several times, create an obstacle course in the basement, go roller skating in the basement. So the important thing is you're not looking at a screen and you're moving your large muscles. The other thing that people tend to not be aware of is where the screen is positioned in your environment. You want to take care that you're not introducing any unnecessary or excessive glare or light shining onto the screen. So what I recommend doing is take the screen that you're using, position it where you're intending to use it, turn it off, and look for any extraneous reflections or lights that you see in the screen. And then if you see anything, you should reposition. So you should never be positioned so that the screen is in front of a window and the light from outdoors is shining on the screen. You should always try to be positioned so that the windows are alongside you. You also want to take care that you don't have overhead lights shining into the screen. The ideal room lighting is for it to be about equal to half of what you would need to read hard copy, to read a book. So when you're on a screen, you need less light to be in that room. If you're doing something that involves hard copy, then I recommend having a task light where you're shining the light onto the task, and the overall room lighting can be at half the amount. I also recommend that you use whatever blue diminishing capacity that your computer has. I know on some computers it's called night mode, night shift, and so that is definitely beneficial, because being on screens for sustained periods of time not only poses functional eye strain, digital eye strain, it also has the potential to cause eye disease with excessive use. And so you want to minimize the blue light that's coming out of the screen and going into your eyes.
What signs or symptoms should parents be looking for that may indicate they need to make some changes or seek the advice of an eye doctor?
That is an important question, because a child might not know to complain. So of course, if they're complaining about headaches, tired eyes, burny eyes, though that's a clear indication that the child is struggling from the digital use, the screen use. But the parents should be watching. Paradoxically, if the child is pulling in towards the screen, then that's an indication that their system is under stress. And when we're under stress and we're trying to do a visual task, one of the instincts, one of the mechanisms that kicks in is that we pull closer. Proximity induces more focusing capacity. So if you see your child moving in closer to a screen, it's an indication that they're under strain or stress. If you see them rubbing their eyes, if they start to get fidgety and seem to be distracted, being on screens is visually demanding. We are not designed to be on screens, period. And so any suggestion that they're not able to engage is really an indication that they need to take a break. And the break can be just stand up, do 20 jumping jacks, and then go back to the task. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't do the task at all. If a child complains of something like double vision, or you see them covering an eye or turning their head so that they're trying to avoid the use of the two eyes by using their nose as an occluder, turning their head away, that's a very strong indication that that child needs to be examined. And so then that's a reason to call an eye doctor, even during these crazy times. We in this office would see a child who was complaining of double vision or was doing something extreme like closing an eye or turning their head. A more routine examination should be considered if the child is complaining of headaches or just generally having a hard time doing the screen learning at all, because all sustained near work places a demand on the visual system, but screens place even more. So you might have a child who did not struggle with, especially in the primary grades, assuming that they're not on screens a whole lot, and now going from hard copy and in a classroom where things are happening at distance and near, that same child who was doing fine under those circumstances might suddenly start to struggle. So that's an indication that their vision should be investigated, but it's less urgent, and it can probably wait until after this pandemic has started to recede. I think parents need to be prepared, and I don't know how you're going to like this, Mr. Scagel, Superintendent of Schools, but I've advised parents that the child does not have to complete all of the schoolwork that's been assigned, because teachers themselves don't know what is each and every child capable of on a screen that I've assigned. And so I've said to parents, you know what, if your child is struggling, you back off. You do half the work. You must preserve the child as a whole, and the teachers will understand. Email the teacher, let them know what you've been advised to do, and the teachers, of course, have been wonderful with that.
You've given us so much valuable information. What are the key points we should focus on and take away from this?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that from an evolutionary standpoint, we are not designed to be doing sustained close work. We're designed to be looking off in the distance and only once in a while looking up close. So sustained near in general is placing a demand, a stress on our visual systems. And then when you put that on screens, you multiply that tenfold. So my recommendation is to seek balance. Yes, do what needs to be done at the highest level that you're capable of, but take rest breaks. As I mentioned, the 20-20-20 rule is critical. Move your body and take care of yourself in general, because truly our visual system, 70% of our sensory input, 70% of our sensory input comes in through the visual system. It's really what enables us to engage with our world. We use it to plan our movements, we use it to engage with others, and we need it in order to feel safe. And so if we damage our visual system, so many systems can suffer. It's important to seek balance.
And students and parents might be looking for additional resources that may be available. Do you have those on your website? And could you share that website address with us?
Yes, so our practice is Northampton Vision Specialist, located in Northampton, and the website is northamptonvision.net. And there are plenty of resources on our website for parents, teachers, and students to utilize. And then I'll also mention a few national organizations. So there's an organization called the College of Optometrists in Vision Development, and their website is COVD, all caps, COVD.org. And then there's an organization called Optometric Extension Program, and their website is OEP.com. I'm not sure, but look up Optometric Extension Program. And what you'll find is there's lots of resources for teachers, parents, and children.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time to join me today and talk to us about screen use and minimizing eye strain. It's very valuable and really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad to be invited, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this, and please feel free to share.